back from his paternity leave, and so therefore there's another dropout from the original England squad, the second test and the first test. We're going to talk football now, though, because a massive game for Chelsea coming up tonight. Not so much in terms of how they get on against Nordsjaelland down at Stamford Bridge, but how Juventus get on with Shakhtar Donetsk, because it could well be by this time tomorrow that Chelsea will be the first ever team to have won the Champions League and then gone out in the knockouts before the knockout stages in the group stages. And it's been a difficult time for them. We're going to cross now to the United States of America, the West Coast. We're going to talk to Danny Campos, who is a Chelsea fan, a big Chelsea fan. Danny, very good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning, good evening from over here, but good
evening
to you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're lucky in the sense that you can think more about the game because it seems that much further away. But it's a big game for Chelsea tonight, isn't it?
Sure is. You say struggling. I mean, obviously, relatively compared to the past. But as I was talking to the producer before I was on, it's not even really the main focus I have with this club right now. It's just the way they've been run. But yes, big match tomorrow. Eyes in my mind will definitely be on Juventus at the same time.
And it shouldn't really have come to this, Danny, should it? I mean, in the end, Chelsea should have beaten Juventus at Stamford Bridge, and if they had done, it would have all been so different.
Wouldn't say that we should have beaten Juventus. I mean, they are a tough team. They were, I think they were undefeated for some odd amount of games.
Yeah, sure, they were for I think it was 45 or 46 games or maybe more. But I mean, Chelsea 2-0 up at home. This has been the criticism of their play this year. 2-0 up at home, you should be able to close it down and stick with that 2-0 lead, shouldn't you?
Well, yeah, we should have. I mean, obviously we should have. We wanted to. But that's just the way it went under Di Matteo, and obviously that's different these days under Rafa Benitez.
Under Rafa, yeah. What was your reaction to Rafa's appointment?
I'm absolutely against it, and I don't care what people think about it. I don't care what other supporters have to say about the goings-on at our club. I am convinced that the reaction to that appointment, and it wasn't just the appointment, it was all the decisions, the sacking and the appointment, convinced that the circumstances were the exact same at any other club, the reaction would have been the same.
Are you annoyed about what Rafa Benitez said about Chelsea when he was Liverpool manager, or is it something else?
No. I mean, that's beside the point. I mean, obviously, that's something that we've hated him for, and well, we can say that. I mean, we've hated him in the past. I mean, he was a Liverpool manager and the things he said, but that's beside the point. It's the decision to sack Roberto Di Matteo, Chelsea legend, after what he'd done for us. It was the decision to do that mid-season after, 3 or 4 games without a win. And teetering on the brink of an exit from the Champions League after having won it. Sure, yeah, but come on. I mean, he had the team where we wanted to be in the league, and that was within a shot to win it. We are most definitely a transitional team this year. I don't care what anybody says. I mean, we have the fantastic three, or whatever you want to call them, Hazard, Oscar, and Mata. But we have no striker, and that's been the problem for months now.
But the thing about the fans, and I'm sure you count yourself as one, as if you were there, but the booing that took place with Rafa Benitez and the kind of criticism of his appointment, it's not quite aimed at the man who is responsible for all of this, who is Roman Abramovich. I mean, he has started. He has started this kind of transitional period. He started it with Villas-Boas. He said it was going to be a 3-year project. That didn't last. He then brought Di Matteo in, who was kind of a backstop, if you like. And now he's kind of got another backstop. So it's all kind of Roman's fault, isn't it?
It is, and I would disagree with that. I absolutely believe that for the supporters that have been going to Stamford Bridge for 40 years or however long they've been going, this reaction is aimed directly at Roman Abramovich, directly at the board, and not at Rafa. It's pointless to boo Rafa Benitez, the man.
But that's what they're doing. They're not booing Roman.
No. They are not booing Rafa Benitez, the man. They're booing the decisions made. Okay, yes, Rafa out, but he symbolizes exactly what Roman Abramovich and the board have decided to do.
But they're not holding up banners.
There's no other point. There's no other point where we can boo.
But they're not. But then, you could boo when Roman Abramovich appears in his seat. You could boo when he gets up and leaves his seat. You could hold up a banner that says Roman out instead of Rafa out. That would be a bit more direct.
we don't obviously want Roman out. Okay, this is a decision that he can fix, and he can fix quickly. And obviously, we want him to do that. We want Rafa out. Okay, Roman, for everyone, has been brilliant as far as his dedication and success. But the problem is he does it in his own way. Everybody can see that. He doesn't pay attention to, obviously, he doesn't pay attention to the identity of the club, and that's an issue which we want to bring up with him.
Is that fair though? I mean, is that fair? I mean, he's a hard-nosed, Russian businessman. And that's the way he does business. And I'm sure Roberto Di Matteo was reasonably recompensed for what for being fired, and he probably was aware that it could happen at any time.
Yeah. Well, it's fair for any supporters who love their football club, and that's exactly what we do.
Do you think Rafa will be there beyond Christmas?
Oh boy, good question. It depends on the results, honestly. Yeah. If he continues to lose, if he continues to draw, if we are knocked out of the Champions League, which is almost, I don't want to say a definite, but there's a good chance of that anyways, I would say no. I would say that he would be gone. But if he does pull off some wins and our boys can start winning and start playing football again, and a lot of that has to do with just sheer will, I think he'll stay until the end of the season. But obviously Roman has Jose or Pep Guardiola in mind. He wanted to get rid of Di Matteo at any opportunity that he had to do so, instead of waiting after the end of the season. And possibly if Di Matteo won another trophy, which he could easily have done, Roman would have had to wait again. So he didn't want to do that. So it's either Jose or Pep, and we don't know. But
Benitez is on the back pages of the papers here this morning. Most of them have got a story in one way or another saying basically he's accusing his own players of lacking fight, of lacking hunger, of lacking desire to win and to play in the same way that they did last year when they won the Champions League.
Yeah.
And you'd have to say, it's pretty obvious what's gone wrong. Didier Drogba's left. Frank Lampard isn't playing as much of a part as he was. John Terry's been out for an awful lot of the season. It's about those kind of leaders he seems to not have at the moment.
Lack of leadership, it's huge. But like I said at the beginning, it's relative. We're not in the relegation zone. We're not in the bottom half of the table. We're still there, and this is far from the Chelsea that were in the second division in the 80s, far from the Chelsea that were in danger of being relegated to the third division back then. We've come a long way, and a lot of that, well, most of that, obviously, the existence of the football club itself is due to Roman Abramovich and the fact that he came in and bought the club and saved it. And so, like I said...
And has created a culture of success, you'd have to say. Absolutely.
Grateful for that, but the fans want to preserve the identity of the football club, okay? And Di Matteo was that. Eddie Newton is that. But
AVB wasn't that, was he?
No, he wasn't. Absolutely not, and that's why he went, and that's why people were okay with it. That's why people weren't booing that decision.
And neither was Big Phil Scolari, you could argue, and neither was Ancelotti. I mean, most of the Chelsea managers that Roman has put into place have not had anything to do with the Chelsea legacy.
Correct, and that's why the reaction hasn't been a negative one overall to those managers leaving. I truly believe that Ancelotti deserved more time. Basically, all the managers deserve more time. You can't ever really see what they're capable of doing until they have the full season at the bridge. But Villas-Boas last season, we were in a tailspin, and there was really no reason for us to be in that situation, especially with the players that you listed were still at the club. Drogba, Terry and Lampard are still there, but they were actually playing.
Yeah. So are you saying what you'd rather see at Chelsea in the manager's seat is some form of sort of Chelsea legend then?
Not necessarily a legend, but in this situation, Di Matteo was that, and all I wanted to do, for God's sake, was celebrate the fact that we won our first European Cup, and we couldn't even pull that off.
Yeah.
I couldn't even enjoy a season of our supporters traveling up and down the country singing about how we were champions of Europe without all this going on,
Right.
and that's a shame. Obviously, I'm still proud of the boys, and will forever be proud of what they were able to pull off last season with the European Cup and obviously the FA Cup as well. But it's just a shame what has gone on. It can be corrected. Life will go on. Benitez will be gone, and even if he isn't gone before the end of the season, it's fine. Chelsea will still be there. Chelsea will always be there, and I'll be there to support him.
One final question, Danny. Should they sell Torres?
Yes.
Fair enough.
Absolutely.
That's good enough for me. We've got to run. Thank you very much indeed. Danny Campos there, talking from the west coast of America. A very passionate Chelsea fan, even though he's on the other side of the world. But Chelsea are in a bad place. They could be going out of the Champions League later on tonight. Full match commentary right here on Talksport of that game. Chelsea versus Nordsjaelland from Stamford Bridge.